Hello and welcome. My name is Veronica Santangelo, and we are going to go through the Smartsheet orientation training for ECLIPSE services. Welcome to Smartsheet for ECLIPSE reporting. Some of you may have experience using Smartsheets if you offered ECAP summer services. This will be very similar. The purpose of the Smartsheet is to collect data that we can use until the ECLIPSE build is up and running in ELM. Requirements to fill this out follows the same schedule as ECAP monthly reports, to be completed by the 15th of the following month. For example, July information will be entered by August 15th. August's information will be entered by September 15th. And so on. We understand this may be a bit confusing if you have not provided summer services, so we will walk through all the information that we're needing on Smartsheets. You will notice your amended contract includes the required deliverables for ECLIPSE services and the draft version of the ECLIPSE minimum service delivery requirements. We are looking for program and child level data as we answer the questions in Smartsheets for ECLIPSE services. We are trying to avoid duplication of data entry. This information is strictly related to ECLIPSE services. Your ECAP information will still be provided in your monthly reports in ELMS. All information entered align with the minimum requirements for ECLIPSE. We will be meeting monthly as ECLIPSE contractors, and we will dig deeper into the draft of the minimum requirements together. This is what the Smartsheet will look like. We start off by asking basic information. These are all drop-down menus. The first question is contractor name. You'll go to the right and click it, and you'll see a drop-down menu with all of the corresponding answers for you to choose. If you notice a little red star on the questions, that star lets you know that that is a question that requires an answer. You will not be able to submit your responses without answering the required questions. The next set of questions we are asking about are titled administrative activities. Here we are looking for your staffing information. The first question is looking for the total number of staff hired within your agency program structure that will support ECLIPSE service implementation. Here we are looking for the total number of staff that were hired within a specific service month. Once all of your staff have been hired, you'll be able to skip these questions unless something has changed. You do not need to identify staff that you identified in the previous month. The next question is asking about the number of ECLIPSE administrative program staff hired. This is an individual who will provide administrative and programmatic oversight of ECLIPSE service implementation. The next question is asking about the number of ECLIPSE specific child and family support staff you have hired. And the next question is asking about the number of ECLIPSE mental health professional staff that have been hired and are on board. This is a Smartsheet question inquiring about professional service contracts. If you are planning to obtain a contract with a mental health professional outside of your organizational staffing structure, it would be considered a professional service contract. For this answer, you will first tell us the number of professional service contracts you have with entities outside of your early ECAP and ECAP program. the names of the professional contractors and the number of professional staff you have obtained using this method. Number of professional service contracts. This is where you want to answer the number of contracts retained with entities outside of your program. And you'll put the name of the professional contractor and then the number of professional service contract staff you have retained to help implement ECLIPSE services. If you are planning or already have a mental health professional within your agency structure, you will have answered in the previous administrative service question, not this one. This Smart Sheet question is looking for any ECLIPSE specific trainings that were offered to your staff during the month. You can list them here by title, type of training. If your staff attended a conference, you offered the training in service, we'd like to know that. And you just want to list it all right here. What types of training were offered to staff to support implementation of ECLIPSE services throughout the 22-23 program year? You just list them. The next set of questions are asking about intervention plans. We wanted to know what promotion and prevention frameworks and intervention frameworks and models you have used in your reporting month. You'll see that each question has a drop-down menu. If your program is using something that is not listed in the drop-down menu, you will be able to enter the option in another text box that will appear if you choose Other. Please specify in the box what you are using. Here, you can see the options that will be listed in the drop-down menu next to each set of questions. For promotion and prevention frameworks, you'll see DECA-C, pyramid model, Other, which you'll want to specify, or none. The drop-down intervention models are attachment biofeedback catch-up, promoting first relationship, positive Indian parenting, or Other. You'll want to please specify in the text box what you're using, or none. The next drop-down menu is methods to maintain fidelity, coaching, reflective practice, infant early childhood mental health consultation, or Other. We'll want you to please specify, or none. These frameworks and interventions are frameworks within the early care profession that we have chosen to offer as options for you to use. But we welcome any other options that you are using, and that's why we have the Other box for you to specify what you have chosen to use in your program. Now we're going to focus on service delivery. You'll see here on the service delivery page, it's asking number of children served in ECLIPSE. So you'll want to include that. If you'll notice, it has the red star. And then include the child ELMS ID numbers for only newly enrolled children during that month. There will be no need for you to repeat ELMS IDs numbers from month to month because we have that information. So what we're asking is in a month, if you have a new child that has enrolled in ECLIPSE services, this is where you'll want to count them and their new ELMS ID number put in that box. Then we move on to looking at number of referrals received for that service month. Referrals here are about the number of referrals you receive for children being served. You may have received referrals for children who were not served in that month. So again, this is for a service month. So we want you to tell us the number of child and family referrals you received in that month and the type of referral it was. And you'll see the drop-down menu, what will have all the types of referrals that you can receive from the community or professionals. And then the last question is asking number of pre-enrollment meetings you held for that month. The next set of service delivery questions are focusing on transportation. We want to know about your transportation services. The drop-down menu includes school district buses, vans, or buses owned and operated by the agency, gas cards, bus passes purchased for the family. There is also a none and other option. Again, the other option will ask you to specify what type of transportation support was provided. So you'll see, number of children needing transportation is the first question, and you'll want to include that. Number of children with transportation plans is the next question. What type of transportation supports were used? Here's the drop-down menu. You'll choose from the drop-down menu what transportation support was provided or used, and if it's not in the drop-down box, you'll want to specify other and include it in the text box. The next question is asking how many children were transported by school district buses, how many children were transported by ECLIPSE service agencies, how many gas cards or bus passes were given. The next set of service delivery questions that we're going to cover focus on screenings, specifically social emotional screenings for children that are receiving ECLIPSE services. The first question asks the type of social emotional screening tool used. You'll want to specify what types of social emotional screening tools you use, and then in the next box include the number of social emotional screenings completed. The drop-down menu includes child trauma screening questionnaire, the DECA, child behavior checklist for 1.5 to 5-year-olds. If you do not use a screening that's listed in the drop box, please specify other and include the specific screening you're using in the text box. The next question is asking about the type of caregiver screenings used. This is a screening that you would use with a caregiver, a guardian, parent of the child. The drop-down box includes parent stress index and maternal depression screening. If you use an other screening that's not listed in the drop-down, please specify other and include the screening that you use with caregivers in the text box. And then the last question on this screen is asking the number of screenings that you have completed for and with caregivers. And you'll want to include that number in the box for your service reporting month. The next service delivery question is asking about assessments. The type of child assessment used. The drop-down box will have the DCO-5, which is the diagnostic classification for children 0 to 5, or the DECA-C, which is the DECA clinical assessment tool. If you use another child assessment, please specify in the text box after choosing other what child assessment you use. The next question is asking about the number of child assessments completed. The next question is asking about the number of individual care plans you've completed. The next question is asking about the number of multidisciplinary team meetings that were held during that service month. The last service delivery question asks about transitions. Transitions include transitions within a program, so a child may be changing classrooms, maybe changing sites, transitioning from early ECAP into ECAP, and transitioning out of ECLIPSE. We're wanting to capture these transitions because we're wanting to capture the activity of children exiting ECLIPSE and transitioning into ECAP or early ECAP. They may also transition out of the program completely, and we want to track that as well. So you'll see the first question is asking number of transition plans completed for that service month. Remember, this can include transitions from classroom to classroom, from site to site, or from early ECAP into ECAP. The next question is asking how many number of children is exiting from ECLIPSE for that service month. You'll want to include the ELMS IDs and ELMS IDs for the children who are exiting ECLIPSE. This can include children who are exiting ECLIPSE services but still remaining engaged and enrolled in ECAP. When you're finished each reporting month, you can ask Smartsheets to send you a copy of your responses. You want to check the box and press Submit, and you'll receive a copy of your responses. The next slide we're going to talk about is asking about transitions and exiting. So we're wanting to know for that service month the number of transition plans you completed, the number of children who are exiting from ECLIPSE, and their ELMS ID number for the children exiting ECLIPSE. Now, we know that you understand transition plans can include everything from a child transitioning from a classroom to another classroom within an agency, or transitioning from one site to another within an agency, or also a child could transition from early ECAP to an ECAP classroom that are also receiving ECLIPSE services. We also have transition plans where a child will exit from ECLIPSE and ECAP because their age is so that they're going on to kindergarten, but they may have a mental health plan. So what we're asking is just each month that you have a child exiting your program, we want you to inform us by letting us know about the transition plan, their ELMS ID, and the number of children who are exiting. There's one more type of transition. A child also may exit from ECLIPSE services and transition into ECAP classroom. So that would also count as a transition. And the last box we're asking, is there anything else that you would like us to know about for that month? So we're giving you an opportunity to share with us anything that you would like us to know for that report month. Questions? Please send questions via email to the DCYF inbox, CC Veronica Santangelo and Axelora Brownell, and we'll get back to you. Thank you.